Hello and welcome to our special broadcast. Here in Chennai, the Mahindra Group has launched its two latest electric vehicle products, which have been developed ground up. You have the B6E and the XEV9E. These are the two brands under the Mahindra Group. Lot of similarities between the two. They both come in a 59 kilowatt-hour battery pack and with a 79 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Both cars give you a range of more than 500 kilometers in a single charge and can go from 0 to 100 in about 6.7 seconds. So what's really different? Let's find out. This is the B6E SUV from the Mahindra Group. It has a 59 kilowatt-hour battery option and a 79 kilowatt-hour battery pack option. It's got a aerodynamic design. It's a compact, sporty-looking SUV with 20-inch wheels. A lot of LED lamps in this vehicle. Let's find out what's on the inside. The charging time for this vehicle, we're told, is about 8 hours with a slow charger, which you can do overnight. And with a fast charger, you can charge your car from 5% to 80% in just 20 minutes. Let's find out what's inside. We're inside the B6E electric SUV, and as you can see, it is a very driver-oriented fighter jet-inspired cockpit. The steering wheel that you see is inspired by the controls you have in a fighter plane, for example. You also have a driver's console here, which resembles an aircraft and also that of a fighter jet cockpit. One feature which really stands out for me in the ADAS features that this car has is automatic parking. Now, with the press of a button, your car parks on its own, and this is a very useful feature in city conditions where you can be in very cramped conditions at any given point in time. In terms of the other features in this car, it's very high on software. Mahindra is describing it as software on wheels. You've got 5G connectivity, you've got advanced Qualcomm Snapdragon chips to support AI applications in this car. Driver fatigue alert warnings are also there, lane alert, cruise control. Now, these are the common options. With the use of this rotary knob, you can adjust the modes of this car. You get 3 modes. One is a range mode, one is an everyday mode, and one is a sports mode as well. A very easy to use gear fob over here. 16 speakers. You've got Harman Kardon Dolby sound system in this car. So Mahindra Group has really tried to pack in a lot in this car for 20 lakhs as a starting point. Let's see how the customer responds to this in the days to come. It's indeed a big day for the Mahindra Group. Let's understand the strategy behind the two new electric vehicles which have been launched from the Mahindra stable. Joining us right now is the Executive Director and CEO of the Mahindra Auto and Farm Business, Rajesh Jejurikar. Mr. Jejurikar, thank you very much for joining us. What's the game plan with these EVs?
Parikshit, firstly, thanks for taking the time out. I know 2 days on your schedule is a big thing, so we really appreciate you being here with us in Chennai since yesterday and today on this in this lovely Chennai weather, the SUV proving track. Both of these are electric origin SUVs, and they're built on what we call the InGlow platform. These are lifestyle experience chill products. So, when you see these products, we are expecting a boom boom kind of feeling, which is a wow, because the design is standout of each of these. They're in the same platform, but they look very distinctive. So different types of customers will get appealed to each, and we're really bringing next stage technologies into these products and next stage features. So you've got to see some of them today. We also kind of set out, and one of the reasons we call this event Unlimit India is because we believe this is India's moment, and this is a demonstration of what India is capable of doing by way of comparing and competing amongst global luxury brands, but at India kind of prices, and that's why it's an India moment.
Right. So who are you really targeting? Is it the compact SUV segment? As we walk, you can tell us about the market strategy. Is it the Cretas, the Kia Seltos of the world that you are targeting, the Ertigas?
We don't target a specific product. When we look at our strategy, we like to think of which customers would buy us. And we've seen in the past, over the last few years, that when we launch something, customers come from all over. Some from really super premium, expensive brands, some from entry-level brands, and categories get created that way. And I think it's the same thing that will happen here, because these are, like I said earlier, lifestyle experience products. and it's going to attract a certain kind of customer who wants a certain experience, people who really want to see cutting-edge technology in their cars. You know, one of the things you would have heard yesterday is the way we've created the Sonic Studio experience. I mean, global music tuning experts, and we had Richard King here yesterday, talked about how you can almost create the studio tuning experience in this vehicle. The music sound system is so amazing with the 16 Harman Kardon speakers and the Dolby Atmos and all of that. So it's about experiencing something very different, and that's going to draw people from all segments. But to your specific question, I would think, you know, we've launched the entry, what we call the Pack 1 of the BO5 at an ex-showroom of below 19 lakhs. Which is going to open up a huge segment, because when you look at UV1, UV2, UV3, we have quite a substantial volume per month, almost like 18 plus 23,000 between the two, at a price point of between 20 lakhs and 30 lakhs on road. And we're really going to play in that segment.
But how do you see the competition? You've got the electric Curve, you've got the electric Vitara coming up, you've got the electric Creta coming up. So you're right there in the middle of the competition. So how do you see the market right now?
We don't focus on competition. We focused on consumer.
Yeah.
So, you know, people of course, there'll be competition, which we think is good for the category, because the more the people come in, you know, it will facilitate ecosystem creation, so on and so forth, break customer barriers. So we're not worried about competition in a category where the market penetration is only 2%.
Right.
We believe we have a really good product which will excite customers and will help grow this segment immensely.
Okay, but do you feel that today price parity with ICE has been achieved? EVs are now at the same price as ICE vehicles?
Well, we've only put price out of you know, one variant of each of the two products, and by the time we come closer to Jan and in the later part of January, we would have all the prices out. But that's the intention, to get as close to on-road prices of competing ICE vehicles in that category, so that the transition barrier is really very easy for customers.
So when you speak about bringing price parity, how is it going to impact margins and profitability? Generally, there is a feeling that EVs are not profitable right now, and companies are still a little far away from becoming profitable in the EV segment. So what's the road ahead for you when it comes to profitability with your EV brands?
I don't know which companies you're talking about which are not profitable, but without naming...
On EVs.
On EVs, I can name, without naming the companies, I can talk about two global EV companies which are immensely profitable. And you know the names, so I don't want to play that out for you. So that's a paradigm that EV companies are not profitable. I think if you do EVs right, manage your cost structures well, EVs will make money. What we've said on this is the percentage margin on EVs is going to be definitely lower, because the denominator is different because of taxation differences. But on a steady state, once we get out of the launch phase over a period of, in a short run, we should have unit margins the same at an operating margin level.
All right. So if you were to ask about profitability in how many months, how many years?
That's something, Parikshit, we'll have to wait a little bit for. But you know, we've demonstrated a track record of showing very good performance. Our margins in our auto business, you know, over the 3-year period have gone up really well, and we have the best peer margin.
Okay. Now, to ask you about how much you've really invested in putting these products together.
So these two products, so we've shared, firstly, I'll just step back and say what's the total EV investment that we've already announced. So F22 to F24 cycle, which got over, we had said we have spent about 4,000 crores on EVs. We announced that for the F25 to F27 cycle, we've announced 12,000 crores. So we have an overall EV investment of about 16,000 crores. The allocated amount from that towards these two products, which includes the development of the platform, the powertrain, the tech, and the capacity, is 4,500 crores.
Okay. Now, in terms of raising more funding, there have been talks that the Mahindra Group has been having to raise funding for your next round of development for electric vehicles. You seem well capitalized right now, but what's the amount that you would possibly need for future? How much are you looking to raise?
At this point of time, we're not really into going to external investors for more funding. We're generating good amount of cash in our auto business, as you know. As an M&M Limited, we have 19,000 crores as a cash balance at the end of the last quarter. So at this stage, we feel very comfortable financing all the investments that are needed for doing what we have to. So there's no immediate plan for external funds.
So what kind of demand picture do you expect for these products?
I wish I wanted to ask you that, Parikshit.
You said you have a capacity of 90,000
You've
vehicles.
been with us since yesterday. You've seen some awesome comparative performances. What would you set as a target for us?
The customer always thinks very differently. I'm not going to get into guessing it. That's your job. But if I were to ask you on a monthly basis, what's the kind of offtake you're gearing up for?
So we've said we are setting up a capacity of 90,000 per annum for these two products. That will ramp up, gradually. Obviously, we're not going to hit that capacity either from a demand or a supply side right from day one. We'll soon get this to customers, by January, which is when we start getting a first cut feel. But all I can say is the buzz right now over what's happened over the 3 weeks leading into yesterday and today, and since yesterday, when we've revealed these products, is something which really excites us and makes us feel very optimistic.
Right. Now, if we were to ask you about the charging options, yes, these vehicles come with a 59 kilowatt-hour battery pack, 79 kilowatt-hour battery pack. What are the charging options you're giving a customer? Can you charge at home, or you'll have to go somewhere to charge? What about the fast charging options?
Yeah, obviously, fast charging is not something customers will set up at home, but they could potentially in the office, where if a large number of customers in an office block, are going to move towards EVs, then corporate could set up a fast charging for their employees to charge. But otherwise, customers can set up two charging options of 7.4 and 11 point something kilowatt hour at their home, or in a dedicated office space that they have, or even community. We'll create multiple options for our customers.
So what is the level of local engineering and domestic content in these vehicles and compared to the import content?
So we are in the process of preparing our PLI applications, which need to answer the question which you're specifically asking. We will, because the calculation of that is a function of the multiple tiers from our suppliers. So you need all the data coming in from suppliers of what is the end-to-end through all the tiers of local versus imported content. We're in the process of completing those applications, and over a period of time, we're sure we're going to meet the PLI. But we are in the process of preparing ourselves for that. Right.
So how many more EVs? A few years ago in the UK, you had showcased a pipeline. At the Bharat Expo next year, are we expecting some EVs to be showcased? What would
we'll show the same ones at Bharat Expo.
All right. Speaking about hybrids, considering that the market for hybrids is small, but there are many states in the country which are offering incentives or policy enablers for hybrids. Is that something running in your mind, that we need to get hybrids on the road at some point?
It's not running in our mind right now, but if our customers do at some stage feel that they need a hybrid option from us, we'll be ready with it.
Okay, my final set of questions. I know you have a busy day ahead. There's been a lot of speculation about a possible joint venture with Skoda, Volkswagen, a 50-50 joint venture. There are so many reports doing the rounds. We'd like to hear from you on where things are and whether there is anything on the table.
I wish I had something different to say than what we said in our stock exchange clarification on this, so we just stay with that statement.
Right. Right. But you have been looking out for these opportunities.
We've always said we talk to people, and we're always open to conversations on partnerships, and we stay with that position.
Right. Any thoughts on a possible demerger of the auto, palm and electric business?
Parikshit, enjoy the weather. We're here in a beautiful campus. Okay. Let's take a drive around.
Question. You've got two EV brands.
Yeah.
What is the larger thinking behind them for the future?
There are two EV brands because, as we've said, the architecture, is going to be carrying the brand DNA. So the XEV carries over the brand DNA of a brand we already have. The B is a totally new design language, so that stands out as a separate brand. But if you were to bring a Scorpio electric or electric origin on the Scorpio brand, then it would carry the Scorpio name with a .E. So we would carry the identity of our existing brands where we bring them to electric, except B, which is a totally different brand.
And finally, how optimistic are you for growth overall in the auto business in FY25?
We maintain our growth target of 15 to 18%, which is mid to high teens.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Parikshit, for talking to us.
With these two new electric SUVs, Mahindra Group wants to target a big chunk of the compact SUV segment, which is a 44,000 per month market. But they will face a lot of competition, not just from the traditional ICE players, but also EV players in this segment. You already have the Curvv EV from Tata Motors, and very soon in the market, over the next 4 to 5 months, you will have the electric Vitara from Maruti Suzuki and also the Creta EV from Hyundai Motors in the country. So how is the company getting ready for these players? We caught up with Pratap Bose, the Chief Design Officer of the Mahindra Group, to understand a bit more about the design strategy of these cars and how the company is getting ready to take on not just the domestic players, but also the likes of Tesla and BYD.
The B6e and the XEV 9e are the two, brand new electric origin SUVs we've shown you, we've launched, and both are, differentiated, and I'll talk about that. The B brand was actually created to bring in a new kind of customer to the Mahindra fold. We have 4 other very, very strong brands, but very, very defined and, let's say, territorial customers. They love the Bolero or the Scorpio or the XUV, but we needed another set of customers to join the family, so to speak. So we created the B sub-brand, and in that, we said if we have to do something new, it should be challenging, it should be exciting, and it should look electric the moment you see it. So a couple of touches, for example, if you look at this, the front DRL or the front lights, we use a technology called hidden till lit. That means till they're not lit, you don't see them. Or this scoop indeed on the bonnet, it takes air from the front and it, basically passes it all over the car for aerodynamics. So when you see this vehicle, you know that this is not some sort of ICE-derived product. It is really, truly electric origin in its architecture. Even if you go around, the wheels are massive. They're true SUV, So whatever we do, just to go back to your point, even if it's for a new customer, we at Mahindra build SUVs. If they're electric or if they are ICE, they're always SUVs. And SUVs have a certain visual, let's say, characteristic. There's high bonnet, big wheels, nice clearance, amazing ground clearance. We brought in this sort of premium touch with the piano black finish. This is very international as well. This is happening, all over the world. Your phones are like that, So we bring in a lot of influences from architecture, from other parts of design, from fashion, to create cars like this.
So the ground clearance for both the vehicles is almost the same. The wheel size is the same as well, but the coupe is slightly bigger, isn't it?
That's right. The 9e is bigger. It's for a different kind of customer, as we said. It's for those who want to travel in luxury. They want to travel in sort of refinement, but still want that SUV capability. Still want that stance, that strength, so the 9e is like that, and the 6e is this real sports, Batmobile in a way of SUVs, and we're very proud how it's turned out.
We showed you've tried to give this a sporty look.
Yes.
But on the inside, you see a lot of inspiration from fighter jets, be it the seating, the front seating especially, the console, and the console on top as well. So why this inspiration from fighter jets?
Yeah, I think fighter jets are the sports cars of the aviation world, right? In that sense, it's not a passenger airliner. So fighter jets are agile. They create a certain emotion when people see them, and of course they're very functional. So the controls are in a certain location for a certain reason. So even here, if you see the way we distributed the controls of the car, indeed the drive selector, for example, it's like the throttle of a fighter jet. That's on your left. Your hand goes there straight away. So these influences are there because that's the kind of world we want to create. This sporty, dynamic, bold, go anywhere sort of world. Yeah.
But tell us, how difficult is it to conceptualize a design for the future and think whether it's going to work or not, because you've got the world leaders such as the Tesla, you've got BYD, which is fast picking up, and it's even overtaken Tesla in certain key markets. In India, there are several new players coming up. There are European players as well. So how difficult is it to predict the right design for the future?
I think I get asked this a lot. more than how difficult it is, I think it's very important to stay true to who you are as a brand. You know, we are Mahindra. People know us for certain common things across the 4 brands that I spoke about, and now the 5th one. They know us for a certain road presence, for a certain robustness, for a certain, you know, go anywhere, do anything sort of, you know, attitude. You have to stay true to that. If you are true to that, and which I believe we've now managed in both these vehicles, then I think you're fine. You know, then you don't have to be anybody else. It's, I think, very important to be yourself, and you know, this is what we've tried to show with these two
So
cars.
no inspiration from any of the existing EV car players in the market?
No, I in fact think, if I'm perfectly honest, that our products will end up on a lot of inspiration walls of designers around the world.
The Mahindra Group has invested a lot of time, money and energy in developing these vehicles. They have hired a team of 500 professionals to promote these cars in dealerships and explain them to customers. They will also be assigning a relationship manager to each customer to take care of his or her charging issues. So clearly the company is betting heavily on these vehicles, as there's going to be a lot of competition going forward in the electric vehicle space. That's all we could pack in on this special show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.